Okay, so after Episode 3 came out, I figured that's it for Star Wars for me. Sure, there'd be future books, games, and whatnot, but the movies were done. Now, there were always rumors of Episodes 7, 8, and 9, but I don't think they were ever really anything more than rumors or assumptions, and according to George Lucas, it's not going to happen. So when this movie was announced and released, I was surprised. Clone Wars is a computer-animated movie, and it spun off into a show as well. The entirety of Clone Wars, both the show and the movie, takes place supposedly in the interim between Episodes 2 and 3. But honestly, it seems to sort of exist in its own sphere. In some ways it contradicts the live-action movies. The very concept of the Clone Wars is a bit of a misnomer here. The term Clone Wars was mentioned offhand by Princess Leia in the very first Star Wars movie. And the clones were created in Episode 2, where they beat the droid army, and in Episode 3, their true master, Darth Sidious, used them to wipe out the Jedi. Now really, if the Clone Wars were depicted in a movie, it would be Episode 3, when they took out all the Jedi. Leia mentioned that Obi-Wan fought with her father, well, her adopted father anyway, Bail Organa, in the Clone Wars, and this seemed to happen in Revenge of the Sith. So, the Clone Wars movie? Not many clones, not many wars. Though there's a lot going on, the bulk of the movie has to do with Anakin taking out a Padawan. Yeah, I know it doesn't make much sense, but just roll with it. This chick, Ahsoka, is pretty much the main character. She's a new Padawan for Anakin, who treats her like a little kid who isn't ready, even though she's way older than he was when he started. Yeah, I guess he's kind of a jerk. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here with Count Dooku and the Separatists, Jabba the Hutt's son getting kidnapped, and Jabba's flamboyant Uncle Zero being involved. And honestly, there are just way too many plot threads that begin when all it comes down to is rescuing Jabba's son. Dooku had the son kidnapped, and he wants to be the guy who looks like he rescued him. But the Jedi want to rescue him so that the Federation can use Jabba's trade routes. It's a simple premise, but it winds up being complicated by a whole lot of extra characters and filler. The character designs are really weird and off-model. Droids and aliens look fine, but humans, or at least humanoid characters, they just look weird and blocky. I mean, take for example Count Dooku. The bridge of his nose is slightly above his eyes. Also, some of the voices, such as Mace Windu, 3PO, and a few others, are the same actors as the live-action films, but a lot of them are sound-alikes, which makes them not only look off-model, but also sound that way. In the end of the movie, they of course managed to rescue the little Huttlet, with Anakin facing off against Dooku and Ahsoka battling several of his guards. All of that just so they could use a trade route. Yeah, that's Star Wars alright. The issue is, it's just not all that compelling. There's too much extra stuff in there for basically a Rescue the Kidnapped Kid movie, and it bears no relevance to its title, as the few clone troopers that do appear are mostly near the beginning of the movie, and they have very little, if any, impact on the plot. The CG animation is kind of lacking. It lacks any sort of weight. Characters are floaty, and they move too effortlessly, and lightsaber duels lack the dramatic clashing and tension that they're known for, instead looking like a puppet ballet. The worst part about it? It's just boring. It doesn't even have enough interesting ideas or characters. Probably the only original character who seems to be interesting at all is Zero the Hutt, who is shoehorned into the movie at the very end. It contrasts with, and conflicts with, the rest of the Star Wars movies, even the prequels to which it's so heavily connected. If I had to say one nice thing about the Clone Wars, it's that even though it was kind of bad and didn't add anything to the movies, it did spin off into a beloved TV show, which most people consider to be of a much higher quality than the movie was. I'm sorry to say it, but this is easily my least favorite Star Wars movie. Yeah, even worse than Episode 2. I give it a 3 out of 10.